The Awakening. Captain Maya Chen stared at the holographic display, her face illuminated by the eerie blue glow of countless alien vessels approaching Earth. 3 weeks ago, they had been nothing but anomalous readings at the edge of the solar system. Now they blotted out the stars, a vast armada unlike anything humanity had ever encountered. "How long?" she asked, her voice steady despite the fear gnawing at her insides. Lieutenant Rodriguez checked his console. 36 hours until they reach lunar orbit, Captain. Maya nodded, running a hand through her short black hair. The bridge of the UES Defiance fell silent, the most advanced warship humanity had ever built suddenly feeling terribly inadequate. "Any response to our communications?" Maya asked, though she already knew the answer. "Nothing, Captain. They're not even acknowledging the signals." Admiral Kazuki's weathered face appeared on the main screen. "Captain Chen, you're seeing what we're seeing." "Yes, Admiral. The Voidwalker fleet has accelerated. They'll reach Earth in a day and a half." The name Voidwalkers had stuck after their first appearance, when they seemed to materialize from the darkness between stars. The few probes that had managed to get close enough revealed massive biomechanical ships, pulsing with strange energies that defied analysis. "The Security Council has authorized Operation Retrograde," Kazuki said, his expression grim. "We're activating all defense protocols. Report to Geneva immediately for briefing." Maya's stomach tightened. Operation Retrograde was the last-ditch contingency plan, one they had hoped never to implement. "Understood, Admiral. We're on our way." The Defiance's quantum engines roared to life, carrying them through suborbital space toward the United Earth Government headquarters in Geneva. As they descended through the atmosphere, Maya could see the panic already spreading across the planet. Evacuation centers were overflowing, and military convoys clogged the main arteries of every major city. The Geneva complex was a fortress of activity. Maya strode through the corridors, uniformed personnel rushing past her with the urgency of people who knew time was running out. In the central war room, holographic displays showed the approaching Voidwalker fleet from every angle. Admiral Kazuki motioned her over to where the Security Council had gathered around a large tactical table. "Captain Chen, thank you for coming," said President Okafor, her usually commanding presence diminished by the dark circles under her eyes. "We need your expertise." Maya nodded respectfully. "Madam President, I wish the circumstances were better." "As do we all," the President replied. "Dr. Lee, please brief Captain Chen." A slender man with wire-rimmed glasses stepped forward. Dr. William Lee, the brilliant physicist who had pioneered much of Earth's quantum technology. "Captain, we've completed our analysis of the data from the outer colonies." His voice was soft but urgent. "The Voidwalkers don't just destroy, they consume. Specifically, they feed on advanced energy systems. The more sophisticated the technology, the more they're drawn to it." Maya frowned. "So our best defenses are essentially beacons attracting them." "Precisely," Lee confirmed. "The colony on Titan tried to fight back with our latest weapons. The Voidwalkers absorbed the energy and grew stronger. But here's the interesting part. Older technology seemed to confuse them." Admiral Kazuki leaned forward. "Which is why we're implementing Operation Retrograde. We're powering down all quantum systems and reverting to pre-quantum technology." Maya's eyes widened. "You're talking about tech that's over a century old. Most of it isn't even functional anymore." "That's where you come in," President Okafor said. "The Defiance isn't just our most advanced warship. It also houses the Museum of Human Innovation in its lower decks." Maya understood immediately. The museum was a fully functional archive of human technological development, preserved as a reminder of how far they had come. Everything from primitive combustion engines to the first fusion reactors. "You want me to deploy antique weapons against an alien armada?" Maya asked incredulously. Dr. Lee shook his head. "Not exactly. We need you to leave a special team. While we create a diversion using old technology that the Voidwalkers can't absorb, You'll infiltrate their mothership. With what objective? To deliver this, Lee said, placing a small, nondescript metal box on the table, a silicon-based computer virus. Nothing quantum, nothing they can feed on. Just good old-fashioned programming designed to overload their systems from within. Maya picked up the box. It felt impossibly light for something carrying the hopes of humanity. Why me? Admiral Kazuki answered. Because the Defiance is the only ship with both the speed to reach the mothership and the shielding to potentially survive the approach. And because there's no one I trust more with this mission. Maya looked around the room, at the faces of Earth's leaders trying desperately to hide their fear. She thought of her parents in New Beijing, her brother and his family in the Martian colonies. She thought of all humanity standing at the precipice of extinction. I'll need a team, she said finally. The best pilots, engineers, and soldiers we have. President Okafor nodded. You'll have them. Anything and anyone you need. Within hours, Maya had assembled her crew. Lieutenant Rodriguez, her loyal second-in-command with unparalleled piloting skills. Commander Aisha Khatri, the military's top tactical officer. Dr. Elias Santos, a genius engineer who understood the old technology better than anyone alive. And a squad of 12 elite soldiers, the best Earth had to offer. As they prepared the Defiance for what might be humanity's final mission, Dr. Lee installed the virus and briefed Maya on its deployment. You'll need to reach their central processing unit, he explained. Our analysis suggests it's here, at the core of the mothership. He pointed to a pulsing spot on the holographic model. Insert the device, activate it, and get out as quickly as possible. Maya nodded, memorizing the schematics. And if we can't get out? Lee hesitated. Then humanity will remember your sacrifice, Captain. The Defiance launched under cover of darkness, its quantum engines running at minimal power to avoid detection. As they left Earth's atmosphere, Maya gazed down at the blue planet, never more beautiful than when seen from above. Would she ever see it again? Course plotted to intercept the Voidwalker mothership, Rodriguez reported. 22 hours until contact. Maya settled into her command chair. Begin Operation Retrograde Protocols. Power down all quantum systems except life support and minimal propulsion. Switch to analog communications and silicon-based navigation. The ship dimmed as systems shut down, replaced by the warm glow of old-fashioned displays and controls. The Defiance felt different, almost alive in a way its usually smooth automated operations never did. Now we wait, Maya said, watching the distant glow of the Voidwalker fleet growing closer by the hour. The next day, Earth launched its desperate counterattack. Thousands of pre-quantum vehicles and weapons systems, hastily recommissioned from museums and storage facilities, rose to meet the alien armada. Old fighter jets with combustion engines, ballistic missiles with conventional warheads, even artillery pieces modified for space combat. As predicted, the Voidwalkers seemed confused by the primitive technology. Their ships, accustomed to absorbing energy weapons, had no defense against kinetic projectiles and chemical explosives. The mothership, a massive structure at the center of the fleet, remained protected, but the diversion was working. This is our window, Maya announced to her crew. Full power to thrusters. Get us to that mothership. The Defiance shot forward, weaving through the chaotic battle. Voidwalker ships, distracted by Earth's main assault, failed to notice the lone vessel heading straight for their command center. Impact in 30 seconds, Rodriguez called out. Brace for insertion. The Defiance's reinforced prow smashed through the outer hull of the mothership, embedding itself deep into the alien vessel. Warning alarms blared as the ship's systems struggled to adapt to the hostile environment. Atmospheric analysis complete, Commander Khatri reported. It's breathable, but barely. Oxygen levels at 17%. Maya nodded. Gear up. We're going in. She led her team through the breach, into the strange, pulsing corridors of the Voidwalker mothership. The interior was unlike anything they had expected, not mechanical as their probes had suggested, but almost organic. The walls seemed to breathe, pulsing with a blue-green light that flowed like blood through veins. "Stay alert," Maya ordered, checking the small tracker that would lead them to the central processing unit. "We don't know what kind of internal defenses they have." They moved quickly through the alien ship, encountering no resistance at first. Then, as they approached a large chamber, they heard it, a high-pitched whine that set their teeth on edge. "Contact!" shouted one of the soldiers, raising his weapon as shadowy figures emerged from recessed alcoves in the walls. The Voidwalkers in physical form were tall, slender beings with elongated limbs and skin that shimmered with the same blue-green energy that powered their ships. They moved with unsettling grace, gliding rather than walking. "Hold fire unless engaged," Maya commanded. "We need to conserve ammunition." But the aliens had other ideas. They raised their arms, and streams of energy arced toward the human squad. 2 soldiers fell immediately, their bodies convulsing as the alien energy overwhelmed them. "Open fire," Maya ordered, and the corridor erupted in gunfire. To their surprise, the primitive ballistic weapons were devastatingly effective. The Voidwalkers, accustomed to absorbing energy attacks, had no defense against metal projectiles tearing through their bodies. They fell by the dozens, their forms dissolving into pools of luminescent fluid. "We're getting close," Dr. Santos called, checking the tracker. "The central chamber should be just ahead." They fought their way through increasingly desperate alien defenders, losing more of their team with each encounter. By the time they reached the massive doors of the central processing chamber, only Maya, Rodriguez, Katri, Santos, and 3 soldiers remained. "This is it," Maya said, placing shake charges on the doorway. "Once we're inside, Dr. Santos and I will plant the virus. The rest of you hold this position and ensure our exit route stays clear." The charges detonated, and they rushed into the chamber beyond. Inside was a sight that took Maya's breath away. A massive crystalline structure, pulsing with energy, suspended in the center of the room. Streams of data flowed visibly through it, a living computer unlike anything humans had ever created. "The central processor," Dr. Santos whispered in awe. "It's beautiful. And we're about to give it the worst headache in the universe," Maya said, removing the virus device from her pack. "Where do I place it?" Santos scanned the structure. "There, that node at the base. It appears to be a primary input terminal." Maya approached cautiously, the device clutched in her hand. As she neared the crystalline structure, she felt a strange sensation, as if the alien computer was reaching out to her mind, trying to communicate. Images flooded her consciousness, stars being born, civilizations rising and falling, vast journeys across the cosmos. The Voidwalkers weren't simply destroyers. They were collectors, absorbing technology and knowledge across thousands of worlds. For a moment, Maya hesitated. What right did humanity have to destroy such an ancient, advanced consciousness? Then she remembered Earth, blue and vulnerable. Her family, her species, whatever the Voidwalkers were, they had come as conquerors, not as friends. "Captain, we need to hurry," Santos called out, snapping her back to reality. Maya placed the device against the input node and activated it. Immediately, the crystalline structure began to pulse more rapidly, its blue-green light flickering to red. "It's working," Santos exclaimed. "The virus is overloading their systems." Maya's comm unit crackled. "Captain, we've got a problem." Rodriguez's voice came through, tight with tension. "They're converging on our position. Hundreds of them." "Fall back to the ship," Maya ordered. "We'll be right behind you." But even as she said it, she knew it might not be true. The virus was working, but too slowly. The Voidwalkers would reach them before it completed its task. Someone needed to stay behind to protect the device until the process finished. Maya made her decision. "Dr. Santos, go with the others. I'll make sure the virus completes its cycle." "Captain." "No." Santos began to protest. "That's an order, Doctor. Earth needs you more than it needs me now." Reluctantly, Santos joined the retreating team, leaving Maya alone with the alien consciousness. She drew her weapon and faced the doorway, ready for the final stand. As the first wave of Voidwalkers entered the chamber, Maya Chen prepared to give humanity the time it needed to survive. The counterstrike. The Voidwalkers poured into the central chamber like a tide of living light. Maya fired methodically, each shot finding its mark, but there were simply too many. For every alien that fell, 3 more took its place. Behind her, the crystalline processor continued to flash red with increasing frequency as the virus worked its way deeper into the system. A countdown displayed on her wrist unit. 7 minutes until complete infection. She just needed to hold them off a little longer. Captain, status report. Rodriguez's voice crackled through her comm. Maintaining position, Maya replied, ejecting an empty magazine and slamming in her last one. The virus needs more time. Have you reached the ship? Affirmative. We're preparing for emergency departure, but we're not leaving without you. Maya smiled grimly. You might have to, Lieutenant. Just make sure that Data gets back to Earth. A Voidwalker lunged forward, its elongated fingers reaching for her throat. Maya fired point blank, the creature dissolving into luminescent particles. But the effort cost her balance, and another alien struck from behind, sending her weapon skittering across the floor. Pain lanced through her shoulder as alien energy crackled across her suit. Maya stumbled backward, pressing against the base of the crystal processor. 5 minutes remaining. The aliens had stopped their direct assault, forming a semicircle around her. One stepped forward, taller than the others, its form more defined. When it spoke, the words formed directly in Maya's mind. Why do you resist? We offer evolution. Maya straightened, ignoring the pain. You offer extinction. You take without consent, destroy what you don't understand. We preserve. We catalog. We improve. Your species' technology is primitive, inefficient. We would perfect it. By consuming us, Maya countered. That's not evolution. It's parasitism. The lead Voidwalker tilted its head, an eerily human gesture of confusion. You fear change. All species fear before understanding. 3 minutes remaining. Maya needed to keep them talking. Then help us understand. Show us what you've learned from other worlds. The alien seemed to consider this request. Then, slowly, it extended a glowing hand toward her. Maya hesitated, then reached out to meet it. Contact. Her mind exploded with information. Thousands of civilizations, millions of years of collected knowledge flowing into her consciousness like a tsunami. Worlds beyond imagination. Technologies that defied the laws of physics as humans understood them. But beneath it all, a terrible truth. The Voidwalkers didn't just collect, they consumed completely. Not a single species they had encountered still existed in its original form. All had been absorbed, their uniqueness erased, their individuality subsumed into the collective. Maya recoiled, both physically and mentally, breaking the connection. You're not preservers, she gasped. You're conquerors, assimilators. We are inevitable, the Voidwalker responded. As you will be. 1 minute remaining. Humanity doesn't submit to inevitability, Maya said, a newfound strength in her voice. We defy it. We change it. That's our greatest strength, not our technology, but our will. The Voidwalker reached for her again, but Maya was ready. In the moment of mental contact, she had glimpsed something crucial, a vulnerability in their collective consciousness. The Voidwalkers weren't just connected to their ships. They were the ships. The entire armada was one entity, one mind distributed across countless vessels. Which meant the virus wouldn't just cripple their systems, it would devastate their entire species. You cannot comprehend what you are destroying, the alien communicated, sudden alarm evident in its thought pattern. But I do, Maya replied. I saw it all when you connected with me. You've consumed thousands of civilizations, erased countless unique species from existence. It ends here. The countdown reached 0. The crystalline processor flared blindingly bright, red light pulsing outward in waves. The Voidwalkers convulsed, their forms flickering as the virus tore through their collective consciousness. Their mental screams filled Maya's head, the accumulated anguish of a species facing extinction. She shouldn't feel sympathy for them, these destroyers of worlds. Yet she did. Whatever they had become, they had once been something else, something with its own right to exist. The chamber began to shake violently as the mothership's systems failed. Warning sirens blared in an alien cadence, and the walls pulsed erratically with dying energy. "Rodriguez," Maya called into her comm. "Tell me you're clear of the mothership." Static answered her. The alien processor was disrupting all signals. The floor beneath her feet began to fracture, revealing the void of space below. Maya had accomplished her mission, saved her species, but at the cost of her own life. She closed her eyes, ready for the end. Suddenly, a familiar voice cut through the chaos. "Captain, this way." Maya's eyes snapped open to see Commander Cattry standing in a breach in the wall, waving frantically. "What are you doing here?" Maya shouted, leaping over chasms forming in the floor. "I ordered a full retreat." "Since when do we follow suicidal orders?" Cattry replied, helping Maya through the breach. Beyond was a Voidwalker scout ship, its hatch open. Dr. Santos figured out how to pilot it. Turns out once the virus started, their smaller vessels became vulnerable to takeover. They sprinted down a pulsing corridor, the ship breaking apart around them. Reaching the scout vessel, they found Dr. Santos at what appeared to be the control interface, his hands manipulating glowing symbols in the air. "Captain, glad you could join us," he called out, not taking his eyes off the controls. "I'd buckle up if I were you. I'm still figuring out how this thing flies." Maya and Cattry secured themselves as Santos activated the ship's propulsion. The scout vessel detached from the mothership, accelerating away just as massive explosions began to chain through the Voidwalker fleet. Through the translucent hull, Maya watched as the mothership broke apart, releasing a pulse of energy that spread to every Voidwalker vessel. One by one, they flickered and died, their lights going out like stars at dawn. "We did it," she whispered. "We actually did it." Santos guided their stolen ship back toward Earth, where the remnants of humanity's makeshift fleet had regrouped. As they approached, Maya's comm finally crackled to life. "Unidentified vessel. This is Admiral Kazuki of United Earth Defense. Identify yourself immediately." Maya smiled, exhaustion and relief washing over her. "Admiral, this is Captain Maya Chen of the UEAST Defiance. Request permission to come home." The silence that followed was broken by a cheer so loud it distorted the comm system. In the background, Maya could hear the command center erupting in celebration. "Permission granted, Captain," Kazuki replied, his voice thick with emotion. "And may I say, on behalf of all humanity, thank you." As they descended toward Earth, Maya watched the blue planet growing larger in their view. The Voidwalker threat was eliminated, but not without cost. The Defiance was destroyed, along with hundreds of brave souls who had fought in humanity's most desperate hour. And something else had been lost too. The accumulated knowledge of thousands of civilizations, forever erased with the Voidwalker's destruction. Knowledge that might have transformed humanity's understanding of the universe. Yet they had preserved something more valuable. Their future, their right to forge their own path among the stars. 3 months later, Maya stood on a platform in Geneva, before the assembled leaders of Earth and its colonies. President Okafor placed a medal around her neck, the newly created Star of Humanity. "Captain Chen," the president announced to the crowd, led the mission that saved not just our world, but our species' very existence. She exemplifies the qualities that will carry humanity forward into a new era: courage, determination, and the wisdom to know when to fight and when to understand. Maya accepted the honor with a bow, then stepped to the podium. The gathered crowd fell silent. "The Voidwalkers came to consume us," she began, her voice carrying across the plaza, "to add our uniqueness to their collective. They believed this was evolution, the strong absorbing the weak, erasing individuality in favor of perfect efficiency. She paused, looking out at the faces before her, human faces, diverse and unique. But true evolution isn't about perfection. It's about adaptation, diversity, the beautiful chaos of billions of individuals making their own choices. That's what we preserved when we defeated the Voidwalkers, not just our lives, but our right to be imperfect, to make mistakes, to learn and grow in our own way. Maya gestured to the stars, visible in the early evening sky. We know now that we're not alone in the universe. The Voidwalkers' memories, which briefly touched my mind, showed me thousands of worlds, countless civilizations. Some may be like the Voidwalkers, consuming rather than cooperating. Others may be potential allies, waiting to be discovered. She smiled at the upturned faces watching her. Either way, humanity has proven itself ready to take its place among the stars. Not as conquerors or the conquered, but as explorers, innovators, and defenders of the right of all sentient beings to chart their own destiny. As the crowd erupted in cheers, Maya looked up at the darkening sky. Somewhere out there, other civilizations were facing their own existential challenges. Perhaps someday, humanity would be there to help them overcome those challenges, to offer a hand of friendship rather than conquest. The universe was vast, cold, and often hostile. But humanity had proven itself capable of breaking through that coldness, of standing firm against seemingly insurmountable odds. And that, Maya thought, was worth fighting for.